Today we're going to be taking a look at a piece of music I've been writing in the style of Argent Metal. If you don't know what Argent Metal is, just play Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal, listen to the music and Mick Gordon's discography of any kind, and that is Argent Metal. This is a style of music that I've always gravitated towards and something I wanted to recreate myself, and recently I bought a plugin called the Argent Compressor that has helped me to achieve these awesome tones that I will be showing you here today. It's not a free plugin by any means, it is $40, but it has been well worth it over the last couple of days that I've been using it, and I've been able to achieve some really amazing sounds using this plugin, so it's something you may want to take a look at yourself if this is a style of music you want to recreate yourself. So now I'm going to take you over into my Reaper session and show you exactly what I'm working with and play a bit of the music and go through a little bit of what I'm doing with it just to kind of showcase how I'm using this plugin. Alright, so now I'm going to show you the song that I'm working with and get a little taste of this Argent Metalness. Alright, now that you've got a taste of what we're working with, it's still a work in progress, I'm still experimenting with it, but hey, these are some really crazy tones, and I've been using the Argent Compressor on a good amount of this entire mix. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down instrument by instrument and show you what I'm working with, what instruments I'm using, and how I'm implementing the Argent Compressor to get some of the tones that I'm getting, and just some of the mix fun stuff, the nerdy stuff that us musicians and recording artists like to geek out about. So just a quick overview of the instrumentation. For drums, I am using the GGD P5 kit with the One Kit Wonder Aggressive Rock stacked on top, using only the snare and the kick. So it's a snare and kick stacked on top of the P5's snare and kick. I just like the sound of it. You don't have to do that, but I like the way that sounds. Over down below that, I've actually got another instrument called Smashed D Kit, drum kit, and basically all that is an instance of the One Kit Wonder Metal, and then I've got the Argent Compressor on top of that with the settings you see here to smash the ever-living shit out of this drum. So, and it's very low in the mix. It is like negative 22 decibels, so it's just underneath everything, but it's still there. And it's mostly there just to add some sizzle and a bit of distortion to the drums themselves while still retaining the nice transients and stuff that I have with the original kit. And then below that, I started this out and called it White Snare because I wanted it to be like white noise triggered with the snare, because I've seen Mick Gordon do stuff similar to that. But I ended up just doing the whole drum kit with this sound. And basically I have this plugin called Zeta Plus 2. And it's a really cool like sampling synthesizer plugin, and what I'm using is the percussion Psytrance snare on there, and basically that's what this sounds like. So it's very tinny. So it's very tinny and very like attacky, and I wanted that to kind of add some click and attack to the drum kit. And that's kind of helping, I think, it punch through just a little bit more in the mix. Okay, so for the bass setup, I did something a little bit different for this mix and tried something abnormal to what I normally do. So usually I have my main bass here. Which is Gin bass, the first Gin bass, and that is set on high gain, that preset, just as is. And as you can see, I went to add the Argent compressor after it, but I'm actually not using that. So what I did for the bass was I added a separate bass here called bass print. So I basically bounced the audio from the MIDI bass to an audio track here. And what this is that audio of the DI from the Gin bass with the Argent compressor on it. And when you put the two together, it's got a very gnarly tone. And so you're probably thinking to yourself, where's the low end from stuff? Where's the low sub part of the bass? Because it doesn't sound like it's all there. You would be correct. I noticed that myself. So what I did here at the bottom is I've got this track called low sub right here at the bottom. And that's basically an instrument from Massive, which is a really, really great plugin you should definitely get if you don't have it. And I have the preset Be Low on it, and it sounds like this. And you pair that with the other bass. And it helps to beef it up just a little bit. So now it's not so clunky sounding. So moving on to guitars, I've basically got two main guitar tracks at the moment, and they sound like this. And basically what those are my DI with the Argent compressor in the front, very first, Argent compressor first. Because without it, this is what my DI sounds like. Oops, excuse me. Very quiet. There's with the Argent compressor. And then my amp. So what I'm using for the amp is the Fortin Nameless X. And what I have here is a preset that I made myself called Sinister Spank. And I'll kind of just go through the pages here so you can see exactly what I'm doing with everything and how it all came to be. And that's the tone I have for both guitars on hard left and hard right. And you can really hear where the Argent compressor is coming in when I have it in the front end here. If I turn it off, this is what the guitar sounds like. With it on. Really adds that like heavy chaos to it and really helps especially for an 8-string because I have my 8-string on this song tuned to drop E, and that really just helps it kind of be all level, a good output, and really kick through. Then at the bottom, I've got some synths, choirs, and etc., right? So I've got an alien lead, which is in the main melody of the main riff there. And all that is a bunch of stuff. That is a lot of stuff. So I've got an instance of Massive with a love lead, another instance of Massive with a pad for Pluto, and then I've got Realm for my reverb on here, and then I've got the Argent compressor because I wanted to throw it on after the reverb, and then I just added an instance of an EQ through Neutron 3 to cut a lot of the high and low end out of it and give us that awesome like lead. And then below that, I've got a choir, which is Jacob Collier's Audience Choir, which is really good if you don't own it yet. I've made a video on this. It's free. If you have a Kontakt player, this is completely free, and you should definitely own it. And then I've got the Argent compressor after that, and then an instance of Neutron to cut the highs and the lows, similar to the synth. And that's just backing up the synth. And then I've got some strings over here playing a little bit, and nothing fancy. It is the BBC Symphony Orchestra, which I do believe is free as well. And I have the Violins 2 tremolo, and then I've got the Argent compressor again after that, just to distort them and crank them to hell. And then I've got in the beginning, what you heard with the like ambient sound is Isotope Iris 2 with this sound, if it opens up, of pads, slight ambience with the Argent compressor after it, and then that ties with the massive preset of Any Day Now with the Argent compressor on top of that as well, and that gives you the beginning part. Just some ambience, and obviously you can see I automated a bunch of stuff underneath it just to give it some randomization and whatnot. And that is all of the instrumentation I have for this song so far. I know I'm going to add a bunch more extra stuff to it, but it's been really, really cool and allowed me to get a lot of awesome tones here. So that is the Argent compressor being used in a real world scenario, trying to recreate some Argent metal like Mick Gordon with Doom, and it's really amazing in my opinion. I really like it. I think it's worth the money. $40 to me is really a steal for something like this, and it makes things really easy, and you get really great results without having to really mess around with it too much. You can use this in a million different ways and a million different applications, and there's so much it can do, but it also makes it so simple for you to be able to achieve the sounds you're looking for, hence why it's called the Argent compressor, not like some other kind of just compressor AB, you know what I mean? Like, it's specifically made with this type of music, metal and electronic music in mind. So would I recommend you buy this compressor just to kind of get this sound? Most definitely. Like, if this is what you're looking to create, or maybe you just want to get something different to add to a different style of music. Anyway, this plugin is to me worth the $40 that it is. I am a cheapskate. I don't like to spend a lot of money if I do not have to. So most of the plugins that I use are free if I can, with exception to Neural DSP and GGD. Otherwise, I try to use as many free plugins as I possibly can. So when I buy a plugin and I say that it is worth spending the money, that holds a lot of weight to me. So it might not to you coming from me, but if you value my opinion, that's my opinion. So thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay metal, my friends.